Ever since you were a little girl, you've spent countless hours looking through your parents' wedding album. And you've imagined yourself in that perfect wedding dress. And now that you have that beautiful ring on your finger, you've been doing your research, going through countless images. Maybe you've even decided which men's story you're going to use for the guys. But here comes the tricky part, reaching out to all of your vendors. What do you ask them? What should you expect? Hi, my name is Ellen Jackson, and I'm a wedding photographer based out of Saratoga Springs, New York. And I hear this question a lot from all of my couples. Well, we just don't know what to ask you. Well, I really wanted to eliminate that question for my couples. So I reached out to a bunch of my vendor friends, and I met with them, and we discussed what are good questions for couples to ask when coming in, and just what they should expect when meeting with them. And together we created a wonderful video series for you to watch as a couple so that when you go in planning your wedding and you meet with all of these vendors, you're going to know what to ask and you're going to know what to expect. Therefore, you're going to be able to plan your wedding stress-free and confident, which is of course what all of us want. So I really hope that you enjoy this series, especially today's. Hey everyone, we are so excited that you decided to join us today. I am with Autumn from Seraphina Divine Beauty, and she's going to give us a little run through of what it's like as a bride to come in and talk to a hairdresser, makeup artist, and just show us what it's all about. So if you could just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do here.
All right. I'm Autumn Wright, and I am the owner of Seraphina Divine Beauty here in the heart of Boston Spa, established in 2016. I have been doing weddings in the area since 2014, previously working in Tennessee doing weddings down there. So I'm right here in the heart of Boston Spa. I do weddings in all of the area of New York, from Lake Placid, Vermont. I've gone down to Connecticut and everywhere in between to right here in Saratoga. And I absolutely love what I do.
Oh, we are glad that you are here in upstate New York.
Yeah, I love it here. It's a great place to have a wedding. So
It is.
yeah, so some of the things that I like brides to be prepared for, or things to consider when coming in for a preview and for their wedding day, are things for their hair. I send this checklist out when I have a bride coming in for a preview, so they have a guideline for things to look over, so they kind of have an idea of what they need to know coming into the preview. So things like for hair, how much volume do you want? Do you want things in your face? Are you someone who wears your hair up normally? Are you somebody who wears your hair down? What's going to feel comfortable on your day of? What is the weather going to be like? If it's going to be 98 on a June day and you know you're going to be sweating because that's you, you're probably not going to want this heavy down curl. So those are some of the considerations. Are you going to want some clip-in extensions? Are you going to have extensions? These are all things that'll be in the hair section. The neckline of the dress, what style is the dress? Are you classic or is it a boho? So those are all things that'll be covered in the hair portion of things to consider. Embellishments. Sometimes people are into the crowns or any of the embellishments. You can bring those. I have some here that people can put in. Mm-hmm. So that's always fun to play with. You don't want it to take away from the dress or the face. But sometimes those are nice little attachments, add-ons. Makeup, on average I do 2 different looks. Sometimes brides come in and they want like a smoky eye, but they're not used to wearing makeup. So I like to do a half and a half so that they can see 2 different looks. I even it out before they leave.
Cool.
But a lot of times it changes what they think, because sometimes they think they want this dramatic smoky eye and then they see it or wear it home and then they're like, that's not for me.
Right.
Or they're like, I don't wear makeup, but then I'll do a softer smoky on one side and they're like, oh, well, that looks really beautiful. So it's nice to kind of know, an idea of what you're willing to, your limits as far as dramatic versus time of day will affect the drama. If it's more of a night wedding, sometimes it goes a little bit more of a smoky eye. We do airbrush and manual. It's just a preference thing. I can do either side in airbrush or manual. I like to do that because sometimes brides are set on one and then they find out that it wears differently in their skin depending on skin to skin. Some people the airbrush sits well, some people the manual sits better. So I do like to do one side airbrush, one side manual, because why not? Because then you know on your day of what's gonna sit well.
Definitely.
So those are things to think of for makeup. And then day of, good things to know are I need to know how many girls will be getting services. So I set up a proper timeline so everything's a well-oiled machine when we get there, as well as working with a photographer. So that way we can make sure the photographer's coming for the candid shots towards the end. We'll be doing touch-ups and whatnot. Drinking plenty of water so your skin's hydrated. Make sure you're doing a good skincare routine leading up to the day. Taking care of your skin. Using your regular moisturizers and making sure your skin's not dry, overly dry. And don't wear moisturizers with SPF because they tend to bounce the light off, which is good for, the photos.
Right.
So a lot of people don't know that. You'd be surprised how many people they put makeup on with SPF and they don't know why their skin is whitewashed.
Yes.
And they don't know that, and that's the point.
Yeah. No, as a photographer, we even for just like portraits and stuff, we love to send our clients to a professional to get their hair makeup done because they just know like the different makeups totally photograph differently. So to have a professional do it who's used to working with a photographer, world of difference.
Yeah, and I think just setting a preview so that they can get a feel for how the makeup will sit on their face. Some people are scared of makeup. Mm-hmm. We could do it so natural that it really makes a difference because if you don't want makeup, we can make it look like you don't have makeup on. But if you don't have the makeup, then sometimes you can just really look like dead and
very pale. Right.
So it is a professional balance of doing it soft and natural, but still being able to pick up on the camera and looking still like yourself. And that's the difference between professional and not professional.
Well, you do a great job. So.
Well, thank you. So yeah, I think the guidelines helpful. I've found that brides that I sent it to have said it's very helpful because with all the overwhelmness of planning the wedding, a lot of people get into it and they don't realize how many details and all the things, and that's what this video is going to be great for. Just as a reminder to all the things because it's a very overwhelming process. So
great.
Yeah,
definitely. So if you could take us through kind of what it would look like to come in for your trial run, how long does it take, what all do you do, stuff like that.
So for the preview, we'll schedule a day and get the bride to come in, sometimes a mother, a bridesmaid, anybody who wants to support, they're welcome to come. Typically I schedule a 3-hour block. So for the 3-hour block, rarely does it take 3 hours, but it's there, available. Right. So during that 3 hours for hair and makeup, I typically do up to 3 looks.
Oh.
So sometimes brides have no idea what they want. So we will do an updo, some want to do a half up, half down, some want to do a down curl. We discuss that kind of usually at the beginning. If it's going to be a hot July day, we veer away sometimes from the down do. So we'll do a half up, half down if they are more comfortable with hair down. And then we'll play with it and bring it up. We'll do braids. Sometimes, a lot of times brides, they ask what they should be bringing in for me to see. I say, well, create a Pinterest board, because that's what everybody does, and pick out, 5 or 6 hairstyles of things that you like braids, volume, how do you like your bang? Do you want a swoop bang or do you want it off your face? Do you like fishtail braids? Do you like Dutch braids or, which can be a lot for somebody to think, but inside or outside braids? Do you like little pieces falling? Do you like everything to be backing up? So these are the kind of things that we'll play with. Some people know exactly what they want. Some people have no idea what they want. And so we have to kind of bring that out through pulling and placing pieces in different places. Sometimes we'll do different hairstyles and 2 or 3 different hairstyles and take pictures of each because they like them all and they don't know.
Oh no.
Which is fine because I'll show up the day of and they'll say I like the second one we did.
Okay.
And we take pictures, they take pictures, I take pictures, that way we both have the pictures. And the day of, it could be a cold day or it could be a hot day. We could do the down curls if it's breezy and it's 75, or we'll do the updo if it's 98 and blistering. So that's with the hair, I allow that free time to play just in case. And, either or, some people, it's the first try, nail it, and they just love it. And that works. But I do like allow that time for people who are indecisive, which is totally fine because that's what the preview is for.
That'd be me.
Yeah.
Very indecisive.
That's me too. That's me too. I'm like, I just cut it all off.
There we go.
So, makeup we do typically is like the last hour of that. You know, the hair is generally around the 2 hours between the curling and then the placing and everything. And the makeup is typically the last hour. Sometimes people leave with one side or the other, but we'll play with the airbrush on one side, the manual on the other. Again, Pinterest, bring in some things like, do you like a cat eye? Do you like a noticeable liner and a smoky eye? Do you like it super soft glam? Do you like shimmer? Do you like matte? These are all things that, you know, on more mature skin, sometimes the shimmer is not something that we want to do because that might embellish that. So these are all things I know, but I also have to take into account somebody might like the shimmer and we have to make that work. Lip colors, are you trying to match your flowers? Because that's pretty. Spring, sometimes we do the pastels and the corals. And in the fall, sometimes we do more of the reds and the, you know, the deeper colors. Yes. So those are things to take into consideration that we'll also play with. Do you like a gloss? Do you like a stain? Use a lip scrub. Use a lip scrub. Scrub your lips when you're leading up to it to exfoliate, to add the oils to your lips. You do not want to show up on your day with cracked, dry lips. It does not look pretty in pictures.
Can't cover that up.
Yeah, no, you can't cover that up. So things like we'll play with scar coverage, we'll play with tattoo coverage. Those are all things that the preview is for. If you have dark bags and you want them covered on your day of, we do the combination of makeup to make you know that you're going to feel good on your day.
Right.
So I've done scar coverage, I've done tattoo coverage. So just knowing going into that day the things that we have to have customized for your look to get it there. And it's to make everybody in this situation feel confident and what your special quirks are that you want for your day. And then feedback would be, okay, I liked how the airbrush sat really well, or I liked how the manual sat really well. And then I usually will show up on that day and say, they reach out before sometimes if, you know, if they really like one or the other. And if not, sometimes I show up and the bride's like, went with the softer side, and on the day of, they're like, I want to go with the smoky, that's what I'm going to do. And or in the middle, let's meet in the middle. Or
yeah.
So it's fun. It's a fun experience. A lot of times brides will try to plan it on the day of their tasting or their shower or an event or something because they're going to look great, you know, leaving. So
we have a lot of brides who will do their hair and makeup and then they'll come to me for their bridal portraits because they're already, you know, beautified and so they'll come to me and we'll do their bridal portraits and stuff and then they can, you know, got to do it.
And sometimes when they do that, we'll do the style for the day of, and then they'll ask to transform it a little bit. So for the pictures, it has a different look, so they're not giving away their bridal look.
Yes.
So we'll get the look, we'll take the pictures, and then we'll kind of give it a little twist so that it's not giving away the secret.
Right.
So. Right. Yeah, and then going into the day of, I typically like to get there. Usually, if we have like a start time of say 7 a.m. I'll get there 15 minutes early, start setting up my stuff, and then makeup slots are I give about a 30-minute makeup slot.
Okay.
To each person, the bride a little bit more, and the hair is 15 and then 20, so it's broken in half. So the first typically is the bride. I like to set the bride first with curls. I do curlers on top. It's called a set, and that's what's going to give the updo the maximum hold for the day. It's what's going to keep it from coming undone. It's proven. It's scientific. It works. I've been doing it for 8 years with brides, and it's funny because some bridesmaids have been part of other bridal parties. They're like, what are you doing? Why is everybody getting these curls? And I'm like, trust me, it's going to make a world of difference, and that is the feedback I get, and that is how I get the bridesmaids to come back and say, I haven't had an updo stay like that, you know, we want to go back to you and do my wedding. Everybody needs to have dry, clean hair. Don't show up with soft and wet hair down past your shoulders because it adds a blowout of 20, 30 minutes on to the time. So everybody gets a 15-minute set starting with the bride. So everybody is rotating. If it's over 4 people, it's typically 2 or more stylists there to keep it moving. So if there is a third stylist doing makeup, there will be someone in the makeup chair as well. And then once everybody is set, then we circle back around for the finishes. Those are the 20-minute
Okay.
finishes.
Okay.
It doesn't always take 20 minutes, but it can take up to 20 minutes. We leave the time for it. We're always out of there maybe a little bit extra early, just a little bit, but I'd rather have the time than
Absolutely.
not. So
Totally agree with
make
that.
everything perfect. So yeah, we do the 20-minute finishes. The bride, I like to finish the bride's hair usually towards the end, second to end usually.
Okay.
So she has time to fidget with it, make sure, but not too much time so she's not getting nervous. She's relaxing while everybody else is getting their finish.
Right.
And then I usually do the makeup on the bride right before I do her hair, and then we do the finish. And that's when the photographer's showing up. The photographer's taking the shots of the hair being finished. And then we do some mock touch-ups on the lips, and the bridesmaids are getting their touch-ups from the other stylists. And then everything kind of just flows right into the dressing of
Yeah.
and everybody getting ready for that, and then if they're doing photos before or whatnot. So typically, usually runs pretty well.
Yeah. Sounds like you have it all under control.
Yeah, it always is.
Well, we are so excited that we were able to come today and that you were able to run us through everything. Real quick, where can people find you as far as online or reviews, stuff like that? Social media?
I can be found on www.seraphinaDivineBeautyNY.com is my website, where I have profile pictures. You can write messages on there. I'm also on Facebook under the Seraphina Divine Beauty, and also under Wedding Wire, where they have the knot and Wedding Wire. I get a lot of brides through there, and reviews are on there as well as portfolio pictures. So, and I'm really excited that you're able to come to this too.
Yeah, nice.
I love working with you.
Well, thank you. Same.